My name is Raymond Han, co-founder and CEO at Peercarbon. There's a lot of call on climate action, people to change how they live, how they use their energy. But really, there's a very big gap, number one, where people don't realize what steps need to be taken, or they don't realize what their impact is, and you cannot sort of change, you don't know what your impact is. And number two, there's also a lack of financing, maybe to help in transitioning to these changes that we want so that we can make the planet a little bit cooler. So the Paris Agreement main focus is actually to reduce CO2 emissions by 1.5 degrees Celsius. And what we're basically doing at Peercarbon is we're helping businesses be able to know what their carbon footprint is. When this agreement was being set in place, I tend to assume that the assumption was for majorly big corporations to participate. But the fact that most of businesses in the world are actually SMEs, we're enabling them to also participate in the climate conversation by helping them transition and also see how their impact also matters in the climate conversation. Basically, what you're building at Peercarbon is basically the QuickBooks of climate. So the way you have QuickBooks that helps you do financial accounting, we have our software Sustain that helps you do your carbon accounting, sets targets that you want to achieve, and at the same time, we have a marketplace within the solution that allows you to get access to green financing and also green technologies if you're a business. Number one, we are actually modernizing the space. So a lot of GHG inventory management is currently being done using Excel sheets. Even in big companies, you'll be surprised. So we are actually automating that process. Number two, we are making the whole process become measure, manage, and mitigate. So by just measuring, which we have already automated, we are also now doing the mitigation part, showing people the hotspots of the emissions where they're coming from in their business process. And after that, at the same time, the mitigation actions we have, several, for example, help you transitioning. You notice that, for example, if you're a fleet company, you might want to transition to have more electric fleet. If you don't have the finance to do that, we provide the financing to do that as well. I believe we're the first company in the South African region to come up with an AI that does climate risk. And we basically built this climate risk analysis AI to help schools, because we have a schools to zero campaign, and we're looking for financing to help the schools get access to more energy efficient technologies. And one of the demands that we're getting from our financials is people to know the climate risks involved with these organizations. The same way any bank would still want to know the credit appraisal of any business they're looking to invest in. So the impact of this technology is being basically able to use data to track emission reductions. Many a times we found many people have been fined for this, being able to make claims without justification. And as Carl Sagan said, big claims require big evidence. And for us, we're just basically allowing businesses to have the evidence of the claims that they're making. If you say that this year you've reduced your emissions by 50% using our platform tool, it's something that you can be able to back up and it can be able to be verified. When it comes to quantification, let me just use an example that I've used. For example, let's say you're running an Uber business and you have a fleet of vehicles that you own, and you use our software platform. We'll be telling you from your consumption of petrol, either diesel or just normal petrol, how much your fleet is emitting. And we can also now tell you, you can start converting your fleet slowly by slowly towards using electricity. And that change is where now we can be able to show you that if you are emitting maybe 5 tons of CO2 per month from your fleet, you're now down to emitting 3 tons or 2.5 tons of CO2 per month from transitioning your fleet. That savings is what now we are able to show you that we can be able to quantify that yes, this action that you've taken has led to the reduction of emission by this amount. Same thing that we are even doing in schools with the clean cooking as well. So we are focused on the education sector because there's a lot that can be changed in that sector, because even when you look at Africa, education sector is one of the largest contributors of deforestation because they use it a lot in part of firewood and cooking. We're also focusing on the logistics space and also the tourism space. Some of the biggest challenges and hurdles we face is people really do not understand how to go about climate action. They don't understand the complex terms of carbon accounting and what it entails. And this is something we're trying to sensitize. And through even building our software, we're trying to make it for people as simple as possible so that they can be able to understand what exactly it is they're doing and what problem they're tackling. So initially, we were approaching them with the promise of course, cheap financing. If you want to get into any businessman's meeting room, any business person meeting room, the first thing is either you're reducing their cost or adding money to their pocket. So for us, we were telling them, look, we have this cheap financing that we want to inject in your business, but it is tied to climate. So that was the response we were getting. And most of them started becoming interested in the conversation from that point of view, and they actually took more interest into knowing what climate change is all about. We are basically riding on regulations that are coming sort of from the top-down view. So for example, when you look at financial institutions, including banks, right now in most European countries and Americas, they're required to have at least 30 to 40% of their portfolio going towards green activities. And they need a way to be able to track how their money is really helping reduce emissions globally. So that is what we're basically riding on. At the same time, we have noticed that by businesses being able to adopt some of these technologies, for example, if you move from consuming petrol to maybe charging your vehicle, you end up having a smaller expenditure for your business. So your profit margins actually increase. So that is how we're planning on riding the wave and expanding. So we're currently operating in Kenya and Rwanda as our initial markets, but looking to expand to the larger East African region and probably later on Africa. Actually, funny enough, Rwanda was an easier market to enter as compared to Kenya. Number one, because Rwanda is actually trying to position itself as a green country. They are actually way ahead in the sense that they have even set aside a whole bank set up by the government, the development bank, whose main agenda is green finance. So they sort of understand it is sort of much better as compared to here. And it was sort of very seamless for us when we were going there because what they were actually lacking is the technology that we're providing, a way to be able to track what this bank is doing in terms of investments, how much CO2 or how much impact it's having in terms of environmental impact. Yeah. So we are actually a venture-backed company. We currently have received $120,000 in investment from organizations like the Peercarbon Network. We're currently raising another $500,000 in funding. We also have a $2 million credit line for our clean cooking program for schools that we are currently slowly deploying. We've also been able to partner with very interesting financial institutions, both here in Kenya and also in Rwanda. Different in standardizations. For example, companies that are operating in Kenya are also global companies, have different reporting mechanisms. And maybe if a company is based in France, they use different reporting mechanisms as what we use here in Kenya. For example, in Kenya, if you're listed in the stock exchange, you have to do GRI reporting for your emissions. In Europe, they use a different framework. So being able to communicate between the two different frameworks is something that we find challenging. But you're trying to solve this by being part of global organizations. Like, for example, Peercarbon is part of the Global Carbon Accounting Alliance, where we are part of other organizations and professionals who do the job that we do. And we help each other being able to go through these different frameworks in the different regions that we operate. So yes, we have a team. Peercarbon is currently comprised of 9 very brilliant individuals. We are two co-founders, me and my co-founder Glenn Tugulu. We've been founding companies together for the last 8 years. This is actually our second startup together. Previously, we were in oil and gas, then we transitioned to matters climate. So each and every month, we have our own carbon footprint reports of the whole office. We're able to see what our carbon footprint is and find ways in which you can be able to offset. So we try to take much more radical climate adaptation methods. For example, not only doing things like tree planting, but we also organize things like waste collections, and also make sure that we try to reduce our emissions as much as possible. In the long term, and also the short near term actually, we are seeing climate being embedded into the very fabric of our society, not only from social awareness, but also to economics. Right now, as I said, big financial institutions, and this pressure is coming from way above, are being pressured to do and become more sustainable. It's almost being frowned upon right now to be seen investing in extractive industries as compared to more climate-friendly industries. That's why I'm seeing that evolving. And I am seeing Peercarbon acting sort of as an intelligence platform that allows businesses to make decisions in a way that they can be able to become more environmentally friendly. I would like personally to be a champion for climate change in the continent. And I'm a person who believes in actions that can actually be traced and not actions that cannot be validated. And that is why I'm currently pursuing the course that we're currently pursuing and other ambitions that we are setting forth to come in the future.